Gareth Bennett.
Minister, I raised the issue recently of the large amount of taxpayers' money that's been wasted in the long-running Caerphilly Council Officers saga. The response I got from the First Minister was that it was largely a matter for the Council itself, which is often the response we get when we raise local government issues here in the Chamber. Although oversight of local government in Wales is clearly part of your remit, Minister, which is why we're all here doing local government ministers' questions today. Now, since I tasked the First Minister with this issue, it has emerged that the figure wasted on the Caerphilly saga is not £4 million, which was the figure I quoted. Freedom of information requests have revealed that the figure is actually more than £6 million. And yet the Chief Executive of the Council is still taking home £130,000 a year for doing nothing, which is exactly what he has been doing for the past 6 years. Minister, do you now have any accurate estimate of when this whole sorry saga will actually be resolved?
I understand from our recent meeting with Caerphilly leader and chief executive that they expect the report of the designated independent person to come in sometime during April. So I can pass on the information that that's what they expect. However, the First Minister is entirely right. It's a matter for employment matters are entirely a matter for the council, and we're not in a position to have any input into that.
Well, thank you for giving me a timeline, which is useful. Although I accept the point you just made, could I also point out that this is an issue which touches on the sometimes excessive pay of senior council officials on many councils in Wales, many of which are Labour-controlled? And can I bring to your attention the fact that two councillors in Torfaen have resigned from the Labour group because they were highlighting possible cuts that could be made, they said, to the excessive amount that they were alleging Torfaen Council was spending on corporate management. Torfaen is spending almost £3 million a year on corporate management, which is almost double what is being spent on the same thing in neighbouring Newport. Minister, is there a case that, with council services under threat from austerity, as you keep telling us, that your Welsh Government should now be investigating whether councils in Wales are spending excessive amounts on the top tier of officer pay?
The Workforce Partnership Council has addressed this issue in the round for local authorities, and the First Minister gave an undertaking that once the processes in Caerphilly have finished, that we will undertake a review of disciplinary action for the top tiers of local authority officers. I don't think it's at all right to compare two local authorities in the way that you have, because a large number of other issues will have come to bear in how a local authority structures its corporate core, what services it delivers, and why something may or may not cost more than another local authority. The truth is that most local authorities are really struggling with austerity. They've had their budgets either flatlined or cut for the last 9 years. We know that all local authorities are really struggling to deliver much valued and welcome local services, and most of them are doing a fine job in making very bad decisions, in the sense of there are no good decisions when you're cutting services that people rely on.
The economic reality of austerity, which you described in the first part of your answer. But it may be true that excessive pay at the top of an organisation may mean that people at the lower levels are not being paid enough. And we do know from an investigation carried out in 2017 by BBC Wales that most councils in Wales are paying some of their staff less than the real living wage. Do you not think, Minister, that it is time you looked at the top-tier pay of local authorities in Wales to see if we can get these councils to pay less to their fat cats and more to the workers at the bottom of their pay scales?
So as the First Minister said in answer to the question, and I agree with him entirely, I agree that there should be a multiplier. It's usually 20 between the lowest paid and the highest paid in any organisation. The Workforce Partnership Council, which the Deputy Minister is going to be chairing later on this year, in its new reconfigured form, will be taking account of the pay and conditions of staff right across the public sector. And no doubt the Workforce Partnership Council will have something to say about the multipliers that should be in effect.
Tynwyd cwestiwn